For one long year, we've been hassled by our fans and the tabloids asking us why we haven't reviewed Mice and Mystics. Well, we haven't played Mice and Mystics, but now we have played Mice and Mystics, so now we can present to you the definitive review of this game of interesting crepuscular characters. We're very proud to present this to you. Here it comes.
Oh,
What?
Paul,
What?
Mice and Mystics is out of stock globally and won't be back until next month.
But what are we going to review? We have to review something.
Ooh.
Hey, Paul. I did it! I bought a carpet corner.
Carpet corner? Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really good time, you know? People need carpets. Corners, you know, is a place that a shop can be, so...
I've bought a lake. I just thought buying a lake would be, you know, a good idea.
You bought a what?
So, hold on. Yeah, no, it's working out great. Oh, yeah, no, my bins worked out okay. Yeah, no, my warning peg's making money now. My cemetery, definitely got to put my hand in there because that's burping. It's impossible to tell what we'll like. Sometimes we like incredibly complex games with all kinds of mechanisms and lots of moving parts, like finely detailed wristwatches elaborately constructed. Other times we're like really simple games that just have maybe one concept in them and which are really easy to learn and which I still will never ever win at. And sometimes we like stuff in between and don't like stuff in between. And so I suppose it makes us rather like whimsical dictators that if you come at us with something, we're as likely to smile at you as we are to shoot you, which I think makes us very approachable. We're open to everything.
So it makes sense that we might really like a small card game like this one, Machi Koro, a game of building small Japanese towns. A cartoonish game of cheese factories and amusement parks and rolling dice. A sunny game for sunny days like this one. Days full of buildings, just like this one.
Buildings and building theft and coffee shop theft, which seem to be disturbing undercurrents in Machi Koro, which we'll get to later. So how do you play Machi Koro anyway? Well, you start with just two holdings, a wheat field and a bakery, a squeaky clean pastoral scene. But you'll want to develop something much larger and you're working towards building 4 landmarks. These 4 landmarks. Get all these constructed first and you're the winning player.
Your actual turn in Machi Koro could not be simpler. First off, you pick up the dice. Second off, you get really excited. Third off, you roll the dice and a 2. That corresponds to the 2-3 at the top of my bakery. And if we look, the bakery gives me a coin. This is the game, building up a tableau of things that will get you gold or money when you roll that number. Blue things give you the coin that they get when anyone rolls that dice. Green stuff, it's only you who rolls the dice. And horrible red things like cafes steal money from people. Now, at the end of your turn, you can also spend that money buying something else. Like I bought another bakery because nothing stops you from buying multiples of the same building. So if I roll a 2 again, oh my God, I get even more money in a kind of jackpot type situation.
I'm so excited, I went in the other room and sneezed.
Yeah, I heard it was good.
But as well as that, there's also a rule about 2 dice. If you can build the station landmark, then on your turn you have the choice to roll 1 die or roll 2 and add the result together. And this opens up a whole tableau of other structures you can buy, like the family restaurant, which activates if you roll a 9 or a 10, or the fruit and vegetable market. But probability actually dictates you're more likely to roll a 6 or a 7 or 8. So maybe you want to get a cheese factory, or maybe you want to get a furniture factory, and these open up a whole set of other special powers. But you can also actually forgo that and just focus on 1 to 6 value buildings and a single die economy if you think that's going to work for you.
The next rule is... No, that's everything. This is a very simple game, and that's fine. Actually, Machi Koro is technically part of what's called the Japanese microgame movement, which uses advanced technology to improve the molecular structure of cards and manuals so they can contain more game. Probably. Anyway, let's call up my Japanese translator friend so we can find out what all this crazy stuff on the front of the box is.
Hello.
Hey, Ian?
What's up, man?
Hey, Ian, we need you to translate something. It's like, so it's a symbol and it's got like two... It's sort of...
It's got two things coming out of it,
Are you going
James.
to describe this to me over the phone?
Yeah.
You can always send me a photo text thing.
No, that sounds complicated. How would you describe
Those
that?
are like people with their arms and their legs out. One's on top of the other,
Yeah, and then...
but they're not having sex.
No, but on the left is like an eye.
The letter I, not an I.
That sounds difficult. Is this urgent? I'm kind of a bit distracted at the moment. I'm just doing the tills in a supermarket.
Well, this is kind of important. Are you sure you do this for a living, Ian?
So here's the exciting thing about Machi Koro. So many of the games that we review feature dice, obviously, but they don't necessarily feature the excitement that I'm going to talk about. These injection molded wads of plastic and synthetic material can actually be magical. Think of dice in a casino tumbling their way down the table and everyone waiting to see exactly what number comes up. Not many games actually capture that magic, that lightning in a bottle, but Machi Koro does.
I agree with Paul. This is the only game in living memory to capture the thrill of gambling.
Well, apart from all the gambling games.
Okay, this is
Probably some...
this is the only game that I've reviewed in my memory that captures the thrill of gambling. And when you have two cheese factories and two ranches, you're going to be blowing on your dice, praying for a 7. This is a simple game. But it is an exciting game, and it simply swaps the permanence of winning and losing in gambling for the ability to get money, spend money, and better your own odds.
You got a 5, you don't get anything.
Yeah, it was like a demonstration.
Okay, sorry. But this being a modern game, with it all being like 2014 and everything, it still has a gorgeous layer of strategy to even just picking cards and rolling dice. Say your opponents are making money every time you roll a 3 because they've all built cafes and they're sponging off you, or every time you roll a 5 you're just making money for them because they have forests. Well, you have the choice to industrialize. You can escape that, build your station, start rolling 2 dice, and you lunge for higher numbers or the rarefied air of double digits. And that's a great thing to be able to do. You're still paying attention to what your friends are doing and you're trying to avoid their strategies, but also Machi Koro does another thing. It asks us a stranger question. It asks us how much we're willing to take a risk. It's very nice to be able to play a game that has the right route to economic victory, but Machi Koro has something else. It just says, hey, maybe you want to buy expensive cards like these purple ones that might pay off if you roll a 6. It's asking you if you want to make risky decisions. And then it's telling you how much those decisions cost and how much they're going to pay off. It's quite bold, it's quite open. That's one reason we enjoy it just so much.
So, yeah, we were hugely impressed by Squeaky Little Machi Koro. It's really entertaining, it's featherweight, and there's also an expansion out in Japanese. So this small little box is an investment if you do buy it, because that'll hit the West eventually.
It's such a cheap investment. I mean, it's a game that's really easy to teach, and it's so small and light. It weighs about as much as a standard reference pair, so it's portable and you can take it to other people and teach them and play with them. And it has the joy of randomness, that not really so common, real joy of the randomness of rolling dice. It's just an easy sell.
Oh, well, they can't buy it yet. Machi Koro comes out in June, I think, for the Western release. So definitely pick it up then. Pre-order at your local game shop.
But we just reviewed this.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't review Mice and Mystics because you can't buy Mice and Mystics, and now you can't buy this.
No, because if we review something that's not out yet, we look cool. But if we review something that's out of stock, we look incompetent.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
How do we...
Yeah.
We look incompetent if there's what if there's another light, easy, economic card-based sort of city building type simple game that's portable and teachable, and if that comes up in
before June.
Yeah.
So before June, a card game for 2 to 4 players that's attractive and small and easy to teach.
Sort of simple economics and
with economics.
I think
that's a big ask, dude. We're not going to find one of those in a bush on the way home, are we?
Is that? Oh, son of a bitch.
Okay, so here is another 2 to 4 player, relatively simple strategic
economic game that you can actually buy because it just came out. Though while Machi Koro feels like the components would blow away in a stiff breeze and the experience could be ruined by a single bad mood, Splendor is heavy, okay? I'm talking about heavy weighted poker chips. I'm talking about a steely strategic core. The downside is this is a game where the theme is draped loosely over that frame like a veil over a corpse. The back of the box will inform you that you're all gemstone merchants of the Renaissance. In practice, you're poker chip people of the Renaissance. But it's okay, don't worry about it. The good news is this is no more complex than Machi Koro. Where's Paul? I could really do with his help.
Come, hobbits, we must journey, hobbits, together. Come, Gimli the dwarf. No protest, Gimli. Come, Legolas. Oh, but you must learn to make use of the time that you have left, hobbits. Hobbits, come, follow.
Okay, never mind. Basically, Splendor is a game of trying to reach 15 prestige points. As soon as you do that, you win. In the middle are all holdings you can buy, just like Machi Koro. And if you look at that number in the top right, then you're going to see the number of prestige, top left, number of prestige points that card is worth, okay? On your turn, you can do one of 4 things. First thing, you can collect 3 gems of 3 different colours. Second thing you could do is pick up 2 gems of the same colour. Third thing you can do is buy a holding. So if I had 2 red and 2 blue, I could pick up this. If you look in the bottom right, you're going to see some gems that this costs. And the fourth and final thing you can do, you can pick up a card you want and reserve it. And in doing that, you also get to collect a wild gold coin. And you're going to explain this to your friends, and they are going to fall into the silence of professional poker players, because this puzzle is so good that I'm going to call it rubberized, all right? You just fling your brain at it and you bounce right off. Let me explain about gems to you. Do you know what the secret about gems are? The secret of gems are timing, all right? If you look at this bottom tier of developments, what we've got here are gem mines, all right? And if you look, they don't offer any prestige, but they're cheap. The symbol you should be looking at is this thing in the upper right. That is the permanent discount a development offers you. In other words, if you have this emerald mine, you pay 1 less emerald for anything else. So this bottom tier just exists to ramp up your economy. Eventually, though, you're going to remember that prestige is all that matters. You're going to start ogling this middle tier. They start offering you prestige, but they're more expensive, but they still offer that discount. So eventually, for that last push, you're going to want these cards. These cards offer enough prestige to lurch you towards the end of the game, but they are so expensive to buy. So you've just got to figure out when is the time to move ahead, because if you start buying up these prestige points before your opponents, you'll probably win unless you've done it too early. And just to spice things up, some of these cards represent just better deals than others, more prestige or cheaper value. So if you've got a friend who has mad emerald discount, you're going to want to reserve this 7 emerald card just so they can't get it. Except there is a hard limit of 3 cards that you can reserve at any one point. You're going to have to buy them if you want to reserve any more, and in doing so collect any more of these wild gold tokens. It's just a total brain burner. Oh, and for anyone thinking this game is just about locating and following the path of least resistance, there are also these randomized noble tiles who offer a chunky 3 prestige to anyone who gets their discount first. So of course, everyone's going to be racing towards that 4 ruby and 4 onyx to appease this Henry VIII looking dude. And you're going to be watching other players and figuring out what nobles they're going for. Perhaps this gemstone theming isn't so ridiculous after all, because this game is as tiny, as hard, and as hypnotizing as a diamond. Okay, so maybe Splendor is actually not so similar to Machi Koro after all, providing a kind of thoughtful baccarat to Machi Koro's madcap craps. And so long as I'm continuing a casino analogy, you know what game we reviewed ages ago is still really good? It's Mundus Novus. A fantastic, unbelievably sunny, breezy game of trading in the Mediterranean that's really thoughtful, intense, and still also feels like you're
gambling. I'll put a link to our video review right in the body copy accompanying this video, and go and look at it and consider buying this one as well as these other games. Whew. Of course, you know what would be really ironic, because I'm talking a lot about casinos as if I was walking back to Paul's house and, you know, in a bush or something, I found a co-op game where you all are waitresses in a casino and you all have to make cocktails and flirt with customers to get tips. That would be really ironic.